Hey you guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Grubs, and I hope you all have been doing very well in your games recently, cause I haven't. We've only got 3 more weeks of ranked left, guys, so make sure you're not doing what I'm doing and just keep climbing, okay? And if you are new, welcome! My name is Grubs, as I said before, and I make Eternal Return content geared mostly towards new players. I love Eternal Return, and I just want to help new players like you learn how to play Eternal Return. And this week's topic, we are going to be talking about positioning. I had somebody in my Discord ask the question recently, hey, are there any videos on positioning? And I went and Googled, and he went and Googled, and there was nothing. We could find nothing. And so I decided that I would graciously bestow upon you some knowledge and some thinking that you can do in regards to what character you're playing, how you should think about positioning, and then give you some examples in regards to what the ideal positioning would be, in my opinion. So without further ado, strap yourselves in, kids. It is time for Mama Grubs to tell you all about positioning. If you are coming from a traditional MOBA, like maybe Dota or League of Legends, then positioning shouldn't be a very foreign concept to you. If you are a large, girthy man, then you probably need to be in the front. If you are a small, fragile woman, then you probably need to be in the back. I'm not being sexist, I'm just saying in terms of character design. But there could be a little bit more that goes into the mentality of trying to figure out your positioning, right? Besides talking about the gameplay, probably the hardest part of Eternal Return is just how large the character roster is, too. And it's hard at a glance to kind of understand who does what kind of character are they. Character designs in this game in particular can be a little misleading. At first glance, I did not think that Suwa was a tank, okay? I thought that she was some sort of caster because of her character design, just going off of what I had experienced in previous games. I also didn't realize that her kit was OP as fuck. 11 is another character that I would not consider a tank just by looking at her. She is not what you would expect from a traditional design standpoint of a tanky character. So that can be a little bit confusing as a new player, just trying to come into the game and understand like who exactly do you want to play and what you're looking for. And when you make assumptions based off of just their design and kind of the little bit that you understand of their kit, it's sometimes very, very easy to find yourself in bad positioning just because of a lack of knowledge. There is literally no quicker way to lose a fight in Eternal Return than poor positioning. And unfortunately, because the player base is still somewhat small, there is going to be a very varied range of skill that is going to be in your lobby. Dear, I swear to God, if I see you one more time with Charlotte up your butt while you're playing Leanne, I'm gonna scream. And as a brand new player, I am sure it feels very disheartening because you're still trying to understand so many different things, and then being caught out of position and feeling like, oh, well, that person just blew me up. They just did so much damage. Well, they did so much damage because you're supposed to be fighting as a team and you just did a 1v1 and you're late in the game and you're behind, and there's like a list of things as to what happened that just wasn't in your favor. So hopefully I can take one thing off your plate by giving you these tips for positioning. So what I have done is I have thought about the things that I kind of refer to when it comes to my positioning and where I feel comfortable. And there are 3 things that I want you to keep in mind just in general when it comes to positioning and how you can determine where you are supposed to be. I think these are also good things to remember whenever you're trying to learn a new character. Recently, I've been adding on a lot of new characters to my roster just so I can learn a little bit more about different positions and different characters. And you can bet your sweet bippy that I am also thinking of these things whenever I am trying out these new characters to help me get into the proper position. So the first question I'm going to ask myself, what role am I? Yes, I am a tank right now, but what kind of tank am I? Am I a dive tank? Am I a peel tank? Am I an engage tank? Am I a scaling tank? Am I tanky right now? Do I need items to be effective? There are so many things that I need to learn about my character, right? And maybe that sounds really dumb and obvious, and that's because it is. If you understand roughly what your role is supposed to be in a fight, then you have an idea of where you need to be positioned. For example, if I know that I am a big boy, I am thick, I am strong, I am long, I am going to be in the front and I am going to be trying to stop people from engaging on my back line. If I am a small man that carries possibly a magic thermos, then you know that I'm going to be in the back trying to pop you from really far away. If I am a small pale lady that has an obscenely large sniper rifle, then I probably don't want to get close either. I highly recommend that if you are trying to learn a new character or you're trying to understand positioning, go and really read your character skills. Really try to comprehend what it is that your character wants to accomplish. If you can understand that, then you've won 50% of the battle there. The rest of it is just execution. And if you are somebody that is just not very good good at doing it in that manner and you need more of a visual reference, there is a channel on YouTube called ER Games, and all they do is show pro players and very high-level players playing the game at an exceptionally high skill level. Go ahead and search up a character that you want to research, and then watch 2 or 3 videos to see how different people play that character. Depending on their playstyle, it might be vastly different, but it might be something that piques your interest and falls more in line to how you want to play the character. You also might find ways of people surviving really impossible seeming scenarios. For example, if you play Katja and you keep getting dove, then you may find a way in order to survive in those situations that you haven't even thought of, but somebody that is much, much better than you and I will be able to execute it flawlessly. And that's kind of my awkward segue into the next point. What mobility do you have available to you? Yes, your character may have self-peeling, but where are you on the map? Is there a wall between you and your opponent? Did you know that you can shoot through walls? Did you know that you can jump through walls? Are you aware of what options you have available to you? Did you also know that 50% of the time if you try to blink through a wall, you will not succeed? All of these things are important to keep in mind when it comes to positioning. I know, for example, when I play Nathapon, that my only escape is for me to press R or to try to blink away. That's it. Instead, I'm gonna try to keep things in between my opponents and myself, because I know that I can shoot through things, right? My camera is magic. I can shoot through a car. I can shoot through a building. It's the camera obscura on crack. All joking aside, make sure that you are utilizing the map to your advantage. Make sure you're keeping track of those bloom flowers. You can use those to redirect yourself and reposition. It's a great way for you to kite away enemies, especially if you're being chased down. Sometimes you can pop away, heal yourself, come back in if necessary. Otherwise, you have gotten away pretty much scot-free. I highly recommend that if you play a carry, you can force your tanks to be in between you and your opponents by positioning yourself behind them. Yes, you will be my meat shield. No, you have no option otherwise. And the big thing is to understand what your character can and cannot do. Understanding the limitations can be the difference between life and death. For example, I know that I can Aya spin through a wall. It ends up being probably one of the best parts of her kit. On the other hand though, if I'm playing Tia and I, breathe wrong, I'm gonna hit a pixel and I'm gonna end up stopping dead in my tracks, and then I'm gonna look like a jackass. So, understanding what your character is capable of and the limitations of their maneuverability is also very, very important. The last thing I ask you to keep in mind when it comes to understanding your positioning, it sounds like it would fall under the first one, right? Of knowing what role to play. Really, it is, what range are you? And I know, a lot of you are doing like the face slapping thing where you smack your forehead real hard and then you roll your eyes and you go, God damn it, Grubs, why am I watching this video? Well, let me tell you something, friend. I have seen more people talk about the fact that they cannot survive a dive right now than anything else, and that is totally fair. This season has been kind of miserable with how many dive characters they are and how effective they are, and it can be really, really frustrating if you are playing somebody that is a caster or a longer range character. But let me tell you, if you have that, you have everything at your disposal to already survive those situations. Now, I'm gonna preface this, okay? Yes, you are playing a battle royale. Yes, people are scumbags who are gonna hide in a bush. Yes, it's probably gonna be me. You're gonna die. It's gonna happen. You're gonna get caught off guard. It just unfortunately is part of the game. So let's say like 25% of the time that's happening, and yes, you can do things to mitigate that, using recon drones, using your skills into bushes to mitigate how many people dive on you. But sometimes they are sneaky Pete's and you can't do anything about it, and that's okay. We need to accept that dying is a part of Eternal Return. But I also see people playing Katya and they are not nearly far enough back. I see people playing characters like Nathapon that are not nearly far enough back. You, I think, underestimate how far you can stand back and still be effective. In a fight, things get sloppy and things get very intense. Sometimes you don't recognize that somebody is still there. I will now provide you with one of my legendary examples. So, we see Jackie. She is walking through beach. You then see her join up with her Aiden. Oh, okay, there's only 2 of them. We're about mid-game. That makes sense. They gotta buy somebody back. They're probably heading to hotel in order for them to purchase their 3rd buddy. What you don't understand is that their buddy is already there, but their Adriana is playing so far away from them that she has actually protected herself in that instance. So as you dive on the Jackie and the Aiden, Adriana's there just hitting you with those sweet, sweet dots, and you are now dead. Congratulations. She beat you because of good positioning. Normally, it would be a little scary to be playing that far away from your team. But if we look at Adriana's kit and we understand that she has her E, which is a great dash, also leaves a fire trail behind, which she can combine with her W, she can effectively block people off from chasing her, and she is able to maneuver herself into a position that is more favorable if needed. We also understand that a lot of Adriana's skills are pretty well ranged, so she's using the range of her kit to the maximum potential in order to keep herself safe. So, going back to what I said before, if you are playing a ranged character, how do you stop stop dive characters from coming onto you? Well, understand number 1, what your mobility is. Number 2, understanding what your range is. If I see a Magnus trying to dive through me and he's got to go through 2 people and he somehow does, I am also going to be poking the ever-loving shit out of him. Why? Because I want to make sure that he takes enough damage that he is being punished effectively for diving on me. And understand this, if you are somebody that doesn't play with a 3-stack regularly, your teammates are going to go after whatever has the lowest health. 9 times out of 10, they're not going to be smart and try to dive somebody that's trying to, dive on you unless they think they're going to get the kill out of it. I'm not trying to be nasty, I'm just trying to be honest. I've seen it happen time and time again, even as somebody that's not exactly a new player anymore. On top of that, being aggressive and showing your teammates that you are capable of pumping out the damage that they require will lead them to believing that you are somebody worth protecting, and that is exactly what you want to convince them. A good marksman will punish you for even thinking about stepping anywhere near them, and that is something to keep in mind. A good mage will always zone you out and keep you at a certain distance. As a tank, you're going to do one of 2 things. 1, you're going to walk towards them and be the big boy that I know you are. Or 2, you are going to stand there and you are going to be an effective frontline and peel away for the backline. Either way, understanding your range is very, very important and the secret to dealing with dive and to maximize your damage output, which is the biggest thing we want if we're playing a carry. And to be honest, Eternal Return is a game that has a lot of emphasis on correct spacing. If you understand your spatial awareness, or at least the range of which your abilities are supposed to go, that is very, very important. You couldn't play a character, for example, like Tia, without understanding the proper spacing for your E. Your E is kind of a chunky boy, but to maximize damage, you need to understand exactly how far away to be in order to maximize your damage output. It's the same thing with Lennox and her Q, and there's a few other characters that fall into that category. So, understanding that is very, very important. And I know some of you might be saying, but Grubs, what if I don't have a very traditional team comp? What if we're running something like 3 DPS? Well, now we need to understand what all of our kits are, and we also need to understand what our enemies do. For example, if I see a team that's, Marcus, Tazia, and Luke, as 3 DPS, I probably don't want to engage them, and I may want to try to let another team take care of them for me. The only reason why I say that is because they're fucking scary. My other thing is what team do I have? Do I have somebody that has hard CC even though they're damaged? For example, an Isol or an Aya with Terrify. What is it that I have at my disposal within my team skill set that I can use to my advantage being another carry? And you may have to scumbag your teammates if they decide to play 3 DPS. Everybody could have picked a different role. You are now a meat shield effectively. A lot of Eternal Return uses a lot of big boy critical thinking skills. So now, with this knowledge I have now passed on to you, you should be able to do that effectively and be able to use this to your advantage. And understand this. If you are running into a character that is kicking your butt constantly, then the best way to beat thine enemy is to know thine enemy. Go ahead and go back to that YouTube channel I referred to, ER Games, and watch some videos of that specific character to understand what they are trying to maximize in terms of their capabilities and their damage. What strategies are they employing in order to capture their enemies? Is there something you haven't thought of? Is it something that's stumping you? Where did they succeed and where did they not succeed? What was it that got them? For example, if you're playing against a Kathy that is constantly diving on you, then understand that maybe some hard CC is what you need on your team, and probably don't play somebody that doesn't have hard CC if that's what you're seeing a lot of in your lobbies. And I don't want the solution to be, oh, I can't play this character anymore, because that sucks. That feels really, really bad. Instead, let's try to find new ways to breathe fresh life into our characters and attack it with a different strategy. And there you have it, my guys. There are my tips for positioning. I hope it was helpful. I hope it was pretty clear. And here is my small plug for my Discord. An announcement in regards to that. We have a tournament coming up on August 10th for duos. So if you have a buddy that you want to play with, and even if you don't, that's okay. We will find one for you. There is some prizes. There will be a $20 Steam gift cards that you can spend it on whatever you want, whether that be NP or just another game for yourself, or maybe a skin in some other awful game. Whatever. If you win, it's your money. You can do what you want with it. So that's going to be a thing. You also get a special title in the Discord that you will hold on to. It will put you in a special role, and you will be our champions for the month. If we get enough people that want to keep doing it, we will keep doing monthly tournaments of this style. But we also have weekly events. We have Cobalt Protocol on the weekends, and I know that my moderator that runs it was talking about doing some solo games. So if you want to try doing solos, this might be your opportunity. If you want to be with some like-minded people. The community is also just really, really nice, guys. I'm so thankful and so blessed to have such wonderful people to hang out with and talk to every day. So if that sounds interesting to you, please consider clicking that link in the description. I get no money off of it. I'm not looking to make any money off of it. I didn't even know you could make money off of Discord until recently, and that is not my game plan here. I really just want everybody to have fun and find people to play with, and there are constantly people looking for groups. So yes, try to check it out if that sounds interesting to you. If you liked what you saw, please consider pressing that thumbs up, maybe even share it with your friends. Every little bit helps with the algorithm, and I thank you in advance if you choose to do so. Maybe leave a comment if you feel like maybe there was something I missed or I needed to elaborate on, or maybe you have some tips for yourself. Please, please, please share them. Every little bit helps in terms of new players and trying to garner as much information as possible. And if you liked it so much that you want to stick around, consider hitting that subscribe button. We have that little bell right there that you can click. It'll give you a notification every time I post. I do post on Saturdays, so if anything, I am just so happy to see you week after week, and thank you so very much in advance just for sticking around and supporting my content. It means so much to me, you have no idea. And yeah, that's it. Bye!